the flag bearer, the powerful man that led the vision from 2017 to date and the future. Of the economic freedom fighters of Liberia, Mr. Emmanuel Gonquoi.
Thank you, sure.
Manda Africa wait.
Thank you, National Chairperson, members of the Central Revolutionary Council of the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia, members of the Governing Council, the National People's Assembly, religious leaders, the student community, women organizations, for international friends, as well as commandant and officials of the DORs of the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia. I want to say, on behalf of our leadership, thank you for once again accepting to be with us out of our headquarters as we speak to the country on issues of national concern. Fellow citizens, over the last few weeks, we have observed with dismay occurrences in the border politics of our country that undermines the Farmington River Declaration, and as well as that undermine the smooth run campaign activities across the country. As economic freedom fighters of Liberia, we are particularly concerned about what happens a few days ago when the former vice president and leader of the rescue team was prevented by hooligans of the ruling party from addressing his press conference to name his campaign team. We strongly believe that situations were side and does not represent the country we want to build. As economic freedom fighters of Liberia, we want to categorically condemn that situation and inform the international community, inform our friendly partners that going forward, the fact that we strongly believe that the government of Liberia, including the security apparatus, has become a partisan force, we will then resort to putting into place in self-security measures by utilizing the DORs within the EFFL to provide security for opposition leaders. Going forward, we will no longer take instructions for national security actors, including the police. We strongly believe that the current police force held by Patrick Sulu and all other security agencies has lost their credibility. They do not represent the hope and aspirations of our people any longer. They have simply become a partisan security force. Therefore, we from the EFFL, considering the importance of these elections, will no longer, I repeat, will no longer take instructions from the national police because they have resorted to being a partisan force and not a national security force that will provide security for all opposition leaders and actors that are in these elections. We ask the national police and all other security apparatus to cooperate with our DORs because tomorrow, immediately, our DOR will begin taking effective national security steps because we do not trust the police and all other security apparatus. The former vice president and all other political leaders in the country lives remain at stake, and therefore we cannot take chances in our own hands. We are clear that the national police should not be a partisan force. The security apparatus should not be a partisan force. The NSA should not be a partisan force. The fact that they have resorted to being a partisan force, we believe, going forward, that the only group of people we can trust to provide security for our country and provide security for our leaders will be the DORs of the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia. And we strongly believe, with the training capabilities of our DOR members, being former security actors themselves, going through all the guerrilla training, they have the requisite credential to provide better security for the country and our leaders. Fellow citizens, we want to once again say, a few days ago, we issued a very clear statement about ECOWAS interventions in the campaign of our country. There is a genuine plot by ECOWAS to steal these election results in favor of the ruling party. We want to be categorically clear that it is not the responsibility of the economic community of West African states to impose a government on the Liberian people. We are very clear that their responsibilities are limited to only monitoring elections and confirming the general results of elections. Their intentions and attitude towards rigging the elections amount to coup d'etat. They are here planning to rig these elections to give George Weah a comfortable second-term presidency, but they are sitting in Abuja opening their mouth and talking about democracy in Niger. We are clear that an attempt by ECOWAS to help George Weah rig these elections, the consequences will be devastating without any mercy on people from ECOWAS who are here. We will ensure that our democracy become protected, not by people who will come to attempt to impose a government on our people. We call on ECOWAS to desist from their plans of trying to rig the elections, because rigging elections in itself is a coup and is no different from what has happened in Niger. We also want to be very clear and ask the economic community of West African state ECOWAS to desist from any military interventions in Niger, because any military intervention will be catastrophic. And so we do not support any military interventions in Niger. Fellow citizens, the members of the press, we strongly believe the country as it stands is at a crossroad. The time has come for radical forces, organizations, civil society, organizations to rally forces, to stand in solidarity with progressive forces that are intending to get George Weah out of power. Over the last few weeks and months, there are people in the public place who believe that because the Unity Party failed a candidate against us in Maggie County, we would have gone disgruntled and abandoned discussions that were ongoing between us to support the rescue mission, as well as move forward in our pursuit of getting George Weah out of power. Let me once again be unequivocal here that our advent to politics is not determined by our greed for power. The EFFL is not an institution that is saturated with individuals who believe in power. We believe that going forward, this country must be governed, and this country must be led by people who believe in themselves and in the people. Therefore, our actions, directly or indirectly, cannot be attributed to our desire for power. We want to confirm that we continue to talk to the rescue team, and as of this press conference, I want to announce to the general public that we fully support the rescue team. We will do the official statement as we anticipate to gather our people in Miami County to show support to the rescue mission. We want to be very clear. Anybody with the slightest thought that because the Unity Party had a candidate against us in Miami County, we will disengage from the negotiations with Ambassador Joseph Boakai, the presumptive president of the Republic of Liberia, then that person must check themselves and must visit the mental home Because for us, it is about the people. We strongly believe going forward, Liberia needs a leader who will restore the lost credibility of our country. We strongly believe going forward, our people who cannot afford the plane tickets and medical bills in India need the government that will assure them a future in Medicare. We believe going forward, the Liberian people whose children cannot go to Cambridge and Harvard, who cannot go to the London schools of economics, need a government that will assure them the opportunity to go to the University of Liberia and acquire better education. So therefore, we don't believe that the George Weah administrations can present these kinds of opportunities. It is against the note that we are unequivocal about our support to the rescue mission. We ask all Liberians to rally around the rescue mission and ensure that George Weah become the one-term president. Fellow citizens, as I said earlier, beginning tomorrow morning, the DOR led by Commandant Jamil Johnson, Leroy Beard, and Tio will begin effective national security operation. We want to be clear to the CDC and the government. An attempt to instigate violence against peaceful Liberian citizens who believe that they have the constitutional requirement to associate and disassociate with any political party that will inflict wounds against them, there will be devastating consequences on both sides because we will not relent but retaliate. I want to say to the CDC that it is unfortunate that the CDC has degenerated into Islamic political organizations and Islamic State organizations. We strongly believe that the CDC actions to continue to commit crimes against the peaceful citizens who are associating with different political types of torture. We have to designate the CDC and the government of Liberia as a terrorist organization. We no longer believe that the CDC represents the democratic values that they subscribe to. We strongly believe that George Weah has degenerated in that no tyrant exists while we are here. To conclude, fellow citizens, I want to say to you that the EFFL just returned from a historic trip to South Africa. I want to employ our Commander-in-Chief, Julius S. Manema, the Deputy President Floyd Shibabon, our International Secretary General Gali Gurich, and all the leadership of the EFF in South Africa for the hospitality and the accommodation they provided us and the training they provided us while in South Africa. We are consistently inspired by what the EFF has done in South Africa, and we are inspired to pursue the same values and objectives in Liberia. We strongly believe training acquired in South Africa will enable us to become very effective and become the largest political parties in the future of our country. We believe going forward, whatever outcome these elections present will not determine the future of the EFFL because we are planning a historic arrival of CRC Julius Manema in Liberia next year, June. We want to make sure that the EFF Liberia become the largest grassroots political institutions with clear foreign policy, clear national policy, clear objective that will move our country forward. We strongly believe in nations under a communist rule will be the best way forward because going forward, we don't need a government that will always side with the West that continue to exploit our resources without giving back to the country. We believe strongly that our ally will be defined by our foreign policy. We are saying to you clearly that in the coming days, let me make it very official, in the coming days, the National Youth Commands of the EFFL and the Student Commands of the EFFL will be welcoming and hosting the flag of Russia, the flag of China, the flag of Cuba, and all progressive forces at our headquarters. We strongly believe by drawing our allies, our friends will be known. Thank you. May God bless the country and God bless Liberia. I will be prepared to take at least 10 questions.
Excuse me, I recognize you.
That's the voice of Emmanuel.
Okay, so my name is Anthony Jeffer.
President
and I work
Joey
for
Alliance.
ABC Radio.
Okay.
Mr. CRC,
Kenneth and also
you talk about
Senator
in few
Representative
days
Michael McConnell
your
to
DOC
address the
will
press
start to
on
take on
important
national
issues.
security tasks.
So what was
DOR, sorry.
point of
Two questions.
question answer?
What is the size of the DOR? One. And the next question is, don't you think that action will undermine the very Farmington Declaration you talked about?
I will not be naive to tell you the size of the DOR, but we can assure you that we have a sizable men who are well trained and they are prepared to execute our mandate. Regarding violations of the Farmington River Declarations, as we said at the National Elections Commission when we were told to sign finally the Farmington River Declaration, we were all unequivocal that the Farmington River Declaration was a useless instrument. It was only intended to place us in a bubble to prevent us from executing mandates of the people. So there's no document called Farmington River Declarations in the face of consistent violation on the CDC. The EFFL, the engineer, the Farmington Declarations, watch and sought seditions preventing the former vice president from going to the headquarters to name his campaign team officially. The very EFFL, the engineers, the Farmington Declarations, watch and saw sedition parading with the caskets of the former vice president. So we don't believe that there's any document called Farmington River Declaration. Thank you.
Follow on to that before my question. Will you also be willing as the DOR to maintain the force or the forces of national security in terms of any conflict?
We are very clear, and we have asked the national security, though they have designed force, but we have asked them to cooperate. They will now have to cooperate. We will not cooperate with them. They will now have to cooperate with our DOR because they have neglected their constitutional responsibility, and we no longer trust them.
Yeah, the
youth. I think I may the placard.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Prince Bikono, report for National Mayor. I say the DOR. Can you clearly state the meaning of the DOR?
The DOR represents the defenders of the revolutions, and it is an ambience or arm of the institutions, the EFFL.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. My name is Bolan. I work for 91.9. I'm concerned. You spoke about the ECOWAS and wanting them to stay away from any act that will make George our 17th president. Mr. CRC, are you in any way sensing anything from the angle of the ECOWAS making you come to this state?
We are a progressive political organization. We have the strongest intelligence network in the country. We have gathered all the facts. ECOWAS is in bed with the ruling party. In fact, like we said in our initial statement, ECOWAS has become a president club pageantry. They believe that they must protect every president in power. There is an orchestrated plan to rig these elections. We consider that a coup d'etat. We strongly believe that something sinister is going on and we must stop it. And that's why we made this statement.
Okay, thank you so much. Your comment to not take instruction from a government force sounds subversive to me, and I'm thinking who is going to take instruction from. Besides, you as a party coming with a statement against ECOWAS with all tangible. ECOWAS has a plan to rig this election to fill up the ruling party. What are the tangibles to prove that?
I just told you we have the biggest intelligence network in the country. We are clear that ECOWAS is planning, and they have a plan to rig these elections. And we, as far as our arrangement is concerned, we are not obliged to provide you the evidence yet because you don't deserve it. We strongly believe that we made a very clear comment, and we ask ECOWAS to desist from any form of coup d'etat. We are clear about that.
Okay, my name is Gibson, and I report for North FM. The Farmington Declaration Agreement signed, you affix your signature to that agreement. So I want to know what's the sincerity in you for you to say this particular agreement is just a mere paper.
That's why during the initial signing ceremony, we were very unequivocal once again that we would have made a statement at the Farmington Hotel before affixing our signature to the Farmington River Declaration. Unfortunately, the President's security stopped us from accessing the venue of the Farmington River Declaration signing ceremony. But we were still given the opportunity to sign a neck, and we were clear a neck. Go back to our statement a neck. The Farmington River Declaration is a useless document intended to suppress the opposition and put them or place them in a bubble.
My
name is Joanna Masia. I work for Farmington. You stated that your party is a people center party and that you gain power, right? And then you came out with a statement that you're going to use your DOR in executing or security measure and doing away with the current security apparatus. And that action, I think, might bring chaos. Don't you think it will affect the people that you're talking about?
Listen, we are very clear that the DOR will provide security for opposition, and our partisans within the opposition community will be protected. We will do what we can in our power to provide uniform for the DOR so that they are visible and identified because the government has neglected her constitutional responsibility. The national security should not be a partisan force. What happened a few days ago was a disgrace to the country. The fact that the national security can watch few group of hooligans from the president party to range terror on peaceful civilians because they express their political opinion by associating. That in itself contravene the laws under which our national security actors govern themselves. So therefore, we cannot trust them. And consistently, we have seen situations in the country. Auditors die. People continue to die. Even in the security details of the president. In Nima, an officer of the president's security detail got killed. Up to now, there is no report on what happens in Nima. So then how do you expect us to trust the security apparatus? That's what I'm saying. The government, if there's like, they can cooperate with the DOR. If they do not like, it's up to them to decide what they want. But beginning tomorrow, I'm not saying day after tomorrow. I'm saying beginning tomorrow. You know, when we decided to lock the Capitol building, we were very clear about that. We are not cowards. We are not cowards. There's no coward-like attitudes in the EFFL. We are very clear. When we want to execute something, we do it to the fullest of our ability. I'm saying to you, beginning tomorrow, the DOR will be very effective in emotion. And it is so good that the DOR constitute people who retire from the EFFL, even though they were trained, people who retire, from the ATU, people who retire from the SOD. So we have very good people. Those who went through the corridor training and graduated with certificate, we will get them out tomorrow. If the president of it decides to institute any form of violence going forward, like they did to Darren DeLong in District 16 during the elections, I'm saying to you here on the table that the result would be catastrophic on both sides.
Okay, let's go passing. Let's take the man.
Not bingo.
I'm taking the last two and I'm done.
Yeah, my concern is some very good, but I'm looking at the aspect of the law that would be treasonable. Secondly, you planning or anticipating of hosting the flag of Russia, China, Cuba, and these are communist countries. Are you telling us that the EFFL believe in the concept of these countries and that's a form of governance you're going to use with the opportunity to lead Nigeria?
Is it time in these elections?
Well, I don't think that any law prevents us from determining who our foreign friends are. There's no political law, and there's no constitutional law required that determine who our friends are. We are honoring our party mandate to determine who our friends are. If we decide our friend is Putin of Russia, he's our friend. We don't care about who Joe Biden is. We don't care about who Shanac is in the UK. Oh, who they are. Emmanuel Macron is in France. We don't care about who they are. We care about who our friends are and our party on the continent.
What happened in the ties between that?
We don't care about what the tie is. We don't care about what the tie is. I'm saying to you, every political party and every government in waiting holds the right to determine who their friends are.
Is it timely?
It is up to you to determine whether it is timely or not.
Last question. Last question.
I'm concerned about the rule of law. Amidst all of the allegations you have made, there are processes for you to challenge the regency. Question the National Election Commission. It is a quasi-judicial process. If you believe that the processes leading to the election on October 10th is not going down well with you can go to the next. If the next rule and you do not be certified, you have the Supreme Court. Remember, by Monday, the Supreme Court will be in special session. Why are you not reverting to the rule of law or taking the other rule?
I think you journalists need special microphone to interpret our position. And we can help you to acquire that. We are not honoring the instructions of any government. I told you clearly in our position that most of the public institutions, they're compromised. They have neglected the constitutional requirements to exist. And you come here and ask me about going to NEC and going to the Supreme Court. The very Supreme Court you're talking about impeached one of their kind because they were dollarized by George Weah. They set a bad precedent, and it's that Supreme Court you're asking me to go to. The security you're talking about, they got one of the kind killed interpreter. Up to now, no action. They do not value their own kind who got killed interpreter. It is that security you're asking me to go to. The National Elections Commission that you're talking about, just a few days ago, allow a criminal like Emmanuel, even though he does not domicile in Magimi and there's no history with the county, allow him to run. It is that Elections Commission you're asking me to go to. You journalists need microphone that will interpret our position. Thank you.
Also für uns Emmanuel Gonquoi, EFFL, also aspirant Mark McCanny on the EFFL Academic Freedom Fighter. Thank you for allowing this life. The policemen have courage. Thank you.